I welcome you all, and thank you for coming today and for all your support. So, we have an amazing program today. We're going to start with our first presentation, which is titled Your ALS Guide, an educational resource for families, and it is presented by Kim Hughes. Kim is the content director of Your ALS Guide. She has worked in the ALS community for over 20 years. While serving as a director of care services for the ALS Association Arizona chapter from 2004 to 2016, Kim worked with thousands of families, conducted home visits, facilitated support groups, served on the clinic teams as a part of the ALS clinic team, and managed equipment loan closets. Kim then partnered with one of her families to create a practical website for families impacted by ALS. Your ALS Guide launched in 2007.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Joumana and Julie. I've known them a very long time, and I appreciate the invitation to come out here. As I said, my name is Kim Hughes. I'm the content director for Your ALS Guide. I've been in the community of ALS, that's all I know, for the last 20 years, and a privilege to work with all the families I have. Let me see if I'm going to do this right. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to go into this a little bit more, go into our story, the collaboration that we have to make the site what it is today, as well as the content that it contains, which is missing a T, and I'm sorry, I just saw that, and our comprehensive guides, as well as our education videos that we have. This is our story. Mina Stroth is who had ALS. She was diagnosed in 2013. She passed away in 2015. She's in the top two pictures. That's me down below in the left with a fantastic patient of mine from Tucson, Arizona. And that's David, who is my partner, who helps me sound really smart with this website. So basically, when I decided to leave the association in Arizona, they approached me as a family to see if I wanted to do a project of getting all the knowledge that I've had over the years of my experience onto a website and make it as easy as possible for people to comprehend. That was just something I never felt existed out there. So we've worked over the last 7 years to be able to get this website as to what it is today. So as you can see, our website is the most comprehensive education website on ALS. We have over 250 web pages throughout our website, as well as well over 300 videos. If you guys have not subscribed to our YouTube, the videos are all available up there. They're not all on the site, and you kind of have to dig through to find specific ones, but it's amazing. We had the opportunity to sit with some incredible neurologists and therapists that have been in the community for a long time, and do sit-down videos. And we also did how-to videos, which I'll get into a little bit more when I go into the guides themselves. Sorry. And our audience, of course, is PALS, CALS, which you guys all know right? Yeah, person living with ALS, caregiver of an ALS person, family, friends, military, and professionals. One of our biggest goals is to educate the professionals and the community, because that is definitely something that I know in my experience was really hard. And so we're really trying to get the information out there so they know to refer people here and or to, of course, your local support services. Okay. This is our core content. As I said, it goes in depth quite a bit. Our About ALS section, we actually just revised, and it's incredible that we've had the support from neurologists, especially in the community, that help us have the correct information on our site. So they are wonderful, so we did just update that. Of course, veterans, as Julie said, veterans are twice as likely to be diagnosed with ALS, so it's very important that people that get to our site know that the incredible benefits that they can get through the VA. Medical decisions, the different topics from feeding tubes to trach and vent. That the trach and vent page is actually one of our most visited pages on our website, and not something that's talked about very much. So we go into depth of the decision of the pros and the cons and just understanding what it means to be trached and vented. We also have a clinics directory. Most comprehensive clinics directory in the country. There's over 323, I think, clinics that we have listed on the directory as well, which you guys are all, I'm assuming, connected with your clinic, so you're good. But there are a lot of people that are not, so we want to make sure they get to the clinic team because we know how important that is. Self-care topics, as you can see on this slide. We go into conserving energy, nutrition, exercise, range of motion, sleep, self-advocacy, driving, which I know is a big topic. Whenever we post about driving, I don't think it's something that people realize it affects you significantly. And so we go into depth with that, which we worked with a PT and an OT at Duke University to be able to, they have a driving program, so they helped us write this page, so it's really in depth about it. And sorry, I lost my track. Okay, support services. Because of my background and being a part of the community, I think it is so important for you to connect with your local services. And it's shocking to me, being on this other side of a website, people randomly, just organically finding us, how many people don't know about their local support services. And I think it's so important because that is your resource and your support and your everything when you're going through this disease. So we steer everyone to get to their support services. And we just recently updated it as well, that you can go by each state and kind of see every support services for ALS that's available in the states that you belong to. There is caregiver support, but I am going to go into that a little bit later. We also have a transportation page that does go into different vans, accessibility, public transportation, things like that. That is also a very highly trafficked topic as well. Travel, we just updated our travel page, so we actually have people internationally looking at it as well to see how to fly to different countries and do it safely and make sure your wheelchair, gets there safely. I had the privilege of traveling with 5 ALS patients in high-end power wheelchairs with their respiratory equipment to Washington, D.C. To say that was an experience was an experience. But you really want to make sure you have everything in place before you travel and make sure you have all that. Advanced directives, as you all know, advanced directives are very important. So we do go into depth of what you should have in place, and that is helpful for your loved ones as well as yourself to know what your decisions are. Health insurance is very important. Of course, people think, oh, I'm 40 years old, I don't qualify for Medicare, but in fact, with ALS, you do. So I think it's important to know what your options are. And then care options. So our care options page goes in quite in depth of home health, respite, home care, skilled facilities, hospice, and palliative care to understand what all of that means and when all of that should go into place. So highly recommend checking out that. Our videos, like I said, are very in-depth. David his background, my partner, actually worked for PBS, and so he's really good at putting together the educational pieces where we can sit down and talk to someone for like 30 minutes, but really it goes down into 2-minute increments. We know it's hard to absorb all that information. So like I said, we sit down with neurologists, nurses, physical and occupational therapists, respiratory therapists, social workers as well. Our guides, we are your ALS guide. So our guides are our babies. When we initially started, we didn't know what we were going to do in the sense of breaking it out or putting it all together. So Power Wheelchair Guide was the first one that we did. That is one, I'm not going to lie, does need to be updated. But our newly respiratory and braces guides are, they tell you the information that you need to know as in depth as you need to. Our equipment guide is our newest one. I highly recommend that you always ask your local support for the loan closet before you go to our equipment guide, because I don't want you buying anything that may not work, but we did make it easy where if you didn't know what a universal cuff was, you can go to the equipment guide, you can see where to buy it directly on Amazon and get it that way, because some people, you just don't know what exactly these pieces of equipment are. Our home and daily living guide. A patient, this wonderful man named Joel, lived in Colorado, and he reached out to us about doing a guide. And this guide took Dave and I about 18 months to do, in interviewing all different professionals throughout the states, especially at MGH, at Mass General Hospital, as well as Temple University. And Dave and I got to fly out to Philadelphia and film with all of them, and it was fantastic. So we go into depth. I mean, this is a guide within a guide. I mean, there's 18 pages within this guide that go into all the different topics that we have up there. So like home safety, accessibility, mobility, transferring, eating, sleeping, toileting, bathing, grooming, dressing, conserving energy, mental health. There's a lot of information within it, and the goal of our site is really for you to be able to absorb the information as you need it. We don't want to overwhelm you, and that was the point of this. He really wanted to educate caregivers. So the big part for Joel was being able to have a guide for paid caregivers. So if you're going to pay for someone to come in and take care of your loved one with ALS, 9 out of 10, they don't know what ALS is. They don't understand what 6 months from now can look like or what is needed. And Joel's whole vision was to have this guide so people coming in the home can either, you as a family say, hey, there's this wonderful guide that your caregiver can read and know and understand what to look for, and to understand that they're not going to know everything. And that was the thing, not everyone's going to know what a cough assist is or a suction machine. And so we wanted to have this guide broken out so someone that is caring for someone, a loved one that goes in there, not a loved one, excuse me, a paid caregiver can go in and learn and understand what the needs of an ALS patient is. And then our caregivers. Caregivers are the most important people through this whole process, and we really try and help them understand how to take care of themselves. If you don't take care of yourself as a caregiver, you can't take care of your loved one with ALS, and that is so important. It's whether you have someone come and hang out that you can go take a nap in the other room, or if you can, just get out and exercise. It's so important for you to take care of yourself, and so we go in depth with that as well. And really understanding what respite can mean. Always ask your local services, support services teams, what kind of respite programs they have, or if there's local resources, and just get the support that you need so you can take care of yourself, because that is just so important. And here's our information up here if you want to check out our site if you haven't already. I know I met a lot of you at the table, and I appreciate your support in checking out our website. And if you want to contact me directly on any questions, I'm up there, or sign up for a newsletter. So that's it. That's our site. How'd I do?
I'm gonna turn it back over to Joumana, but as you can tell, she might not have an Arizona accent. She's from Long Island. And while she's here representing your ALS guide, just so that y'all, there's not confusion or it's integrated into our educational resources and our educational materials are your ALS guide. So you don't have to, it's a little unique in this situation. That we actually have adopted and co-partnered and are co-editing and co-authoring and doing some things with your ALS guide. So it's an incredible resource that we have partnered with because we're radically collaborative. We knew that they were the premier content providers, and we wanted to have the right content for our families. Joumana, I think you would echo that. So just, okay. All right, well, I can't help it.
And I was also going to mention that if you have any specific need or any specific question, your care service coordinator can print those PDF forms specific to your need, and then we can have those available to you as well in the clinics or at a home visit. So yes, these resources are accessible from our website. All right, now to our second presentation. It is titled Overview of AITP, and I'll get to that. And the programs offered, presented by Lynnette Strode. Lynnette is the program manager for the Demonstration Center, Device Loan Program, ICC program, I'm gonna let her explain that one, and special projects for the Illinois Assistive Technology Program, AITP, where she has worked for 21 years. Her role involves overseeing various programs aimed at helping individuals find devices that improve their quality of life, which she finds very rewarding. Lynnette has lived globally due to her family's military background, has 2 children, and enjoys reading and traveling. Prior to AITP, she worked for Springfield School District 186, assisting assisting at-risk children and their families in accessing services and resources. This is Lynnette's second meeting with us, and she's back by popular demand and selfishly because I missed her talk last year and I wanted to see it, so that's why she's here. Thank you so much, Lynnette.
Good afternoon. My PowerPoint is longer, so I am going to skip a couple. Okay. So, I am with the Illinois Assistive Technology Program. We are a non-for-profit agency that has been in the state since 1989. And what we are charged with doing is implementing the AT Act of 1988. We service the entire state. Every state has a program, and I'll get into that a little bit more. And we promote the use of assistive technology devices and services for individuals with disabilities so that they're able to be in their community, be in their homes, and feel safe and secure. We are an agency that offers person-centered services to all individuals in the state. We do not specify, or you do not have to have any kind of financial guides in place. We will serve anybody regardless. Their families, we work a lot with colleges, private industry, educators, and anybody that wants to know about assistive technology. And this is, we've customized our presentations here just recently, so we're all putting out the same thing. So we have certain activities we have to do, and every state has to do these activities. So our AT Act activities are the demonstration center, device loan, our reuse program. We do state financing activities, training, technical assistance, information and assistance, and IEP, which is individualized educational planning and AT support, public awareness and outreach. And then we have this wonderful director who really goes outside the box to see how we can expand our services. So we have other services provided through leverage funding, which one of them being the State Board of Education. We have a grant with them to provide evaluations for kiddos 3 through 21 in the school setting. We have a contract with Vocational Rehab, Department of Human Services, to do home modification evaluations and vocational rehab and home services. So they'll go out and look at the home. We have a contract through Social Security called Work Incentives Planning and Assistance. One of the newer programs is the Illinois Care Connections, or otherwise known as ICC, through Department of Aging. And then we are the Center for Assistive Technology Act Data Assistance, which means all the other states come to us and we do all that data for the government so that we can keep this funding going long term. So, I'm going to tell you one of the things I usually say, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's not wheelchairs, it's not walkers, it's not canes, but there are quite a few people using other AT in this building. Does anybody have a clue what it is? And I can tell you I'm using it. Nope. If I take off my glasses, I do not see any faces back there. None whatsoever. So, assistive technology is more than what you think it is. It's any piece of equipment, whether you go buy it off the shelf. And one of the things when I talk about off the shelf, if anybody came by our table, did you see the pool noodle with the cards in it? That was purchased off the shelf that we customized for pennies. So whether you buy it off the shelf, it's commercially made that way, or you customize it, that is used to increase, maintain, and improve functional capabilities of the individual with a disability. So basically, it's letting that person with a disability do the same thing as anybody else, but just slightly different. And a service would be like going to a vendor and getting fitted for a wheelchair, or going to an audiologist and having them check your hearing and giving you hearing helpers, hearing aid type things. So we do promote that also. My favorite place at our building is our demonstration center. If you've never been to our demonstration center and you're ever in Springfield, call us ahead of time. I will come in in the evening or on weekends and open up the demo center, because until you see assistive technology all in one place, and let me tell you, we're not going to say, go out and buy it, go out and buy it. We don't want you to spend money unnecessarily. But to come in and see AT all in one place is amazing. And there's AT in that building that you would never think was AT. We have several different rooms. I have pictures up here. The very top one is part of our vision area. Our vision area is not real big. I have Chastity, one of our newest employees over here. She's learning our demonstration center. Talk to her afterwards and ask about our vision center. It's not very big, but you will never see the amount of vision AT all in one place. I'm not talking just about something that'll magnify. I'm talking about reading devices. I'm talking about braille devices, games that are brailled. Who knew that Legos now makes brailled bricks, Lego bricks? Pretty cool. We have a set in our center that you can see. It also teaches you how to read braille. What we like to do at our demo center is when people come in, or if we go to people, we will bring AT with us. If you're like me, I am one of those learners that have to have it in my hand. You can tell me how it works, but until I'm pushing those buttons or moving things around, it makes no sense to me. So it's hands-on learning if you're a learner like me. There is no stress of saying, hey, this program's or this product's the best product for you. You've got to get this one. It beats all the others. One of my favorite sayings is, AT, one size does not fit all. You can go in and compare CCTVs in our demonstration center, which are big 20-plus screens that magnify onto a screen. They all work the same way. However, there's just a pinch difference in each of the quality on the screen. So what works for me may not work for you. So you get that hands-on. And as you're looking at devices, we have staff. Chastity is an occupational therapist assistant that can work with you. We have occupational therapists, physical therapists. We have speech-language therapists on staff that can meet with you and help you make an informed decision on what may or may not work. Middle picture is one of our daily living rooms, from going into the bathroom. What can we use in the bathroom to make it easier? Different types of shower chairs, different kind of commode guides, medicine reminders. We have all that. The bottom picture is our sensory room. Because we cater to all ages, all disabilities, we do get a lot of children in there that have sensory issues that we're able to let them go into the sensory room and look at sensory-based devices. So these are just categories. I've talked about vision. We also have learning, cognition, and development devices. We have environmental adaptions. One of the things I like to share, and it's not on this slide, we have a smart home. We have a one-bedroom-like apartment. And do you guys know what smart technology is? It's your Ring doorbell. It's your smart lock. It's your smart light bulbs. It could be your kitchen sink where you say, turn on the water and set the tap too. These things were not made for a person with a disability, but how cool is it to be able to use voice? And some of the devices will recognize mechanical voices, like on a communication device, to say, hey, Google, answer the door. Hey Google, turn on the lights. Alexa, what is the temperature today? It is not that expensive. You know, you can get a Ring doorbell for, the ones we do run about $150. The smart locks, you can get them from $75 up. Great way to feel secure. I work a lot with seniors, and one of the things we do with like the smart locks smart locks is you can go into the app and set a schedule. So if you have a caregiver coming in, you can set that the caregiver comes in Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays between the hours of 10 and 2. They get a code. That code only works Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That just gives the senior that much more security, knowing that the person cannot come in at any other time. So Smart Home is not on here. We do hearing helpers, not hearing aids. Mobility, seating, and positioning. We have computer and related devices. I had somebody ask me about a mouse today. There are all kinds of mice for computers and different ways to use them. We have them in our demo center. We can bring them out. Speech communication. We go very low tech from like picture boards all the way to eye gaze systems. Daily living, and daily living consists of grooming, bathing, eating, preparing food, medicine, management. Then we have recently, we actually had Michigan State's AT program come down to visit us because, in my opinion, we're probably the best program nationwide. But Michigan does a lot of outdoor equipment. So we are starting to look at, skiing for somebody that only has use of one leg. Hunting blinds. What kind of hunting blinds are out there for people that need the raised, maybe they're chair bound and need to be raised in a hunting blind? So we are increasing our recreation, sport, and leisure. I will tell you, if you come in and you want to learn about the game systems, it's not me. We have a Nintendo and a Xbox. I know nothing about gaming. But the different kinds of controllers for that, it's pretty cool. So this is the type of things that we have in our demo center. Example of vision. You see up here in the corner the picture of the baby. That is actually our director's daughter, who is now 30. And she always says, please take that picture off. These are what we call CCTVs. In the center picture is a handheld magnifier. And then the third picture is a Ruby, which is like a CCTV, but it's one you can take with you. So you can take it to the grocery store. It'll fit in your purse. You can take it to a restaurant and look at a menu. Our sensory room, here's some of the things you might see in there. Different kind of lighting, different kind of devices that make noise, textures, kind of a fun place to go see. And then you learn about the devices and you say, okay, they're kind of expensive. Are they going to really work? Then we would probably send you to our device loan program. We loan devices for 6 weeks at a time. We ship the entire state. Pretty much, we're working real hard to whatever we have in our demo center is now going to be in device loan. So you're able to then borrow them. I had the OB feeder out at my table. We have 2 of those in our device loan so people can try them, make sure it's going to be compatible with the end user. Maybe you have a device that broke and you're getting it repaired. What do you do in the meantime? You can borrow from our device loan. Therapists can borrow equipment to do assessments on individuals. And I've been doing this so long, I'm trying to slow down and stay on task with the slides because I just go into my spiel. So we loan for 6 weeks. We ship, or they can be picked up, and we will ship anywhere in the state of Illinois. We do ship UPS. And the only cost is to ship it back to us. However, if you call and say, I really can't afford it, we will send a call tag for it. We don't advertise that much because then that takes out of that pot of money. We're a non-for-profit. We are on a budget. If you want to see, and here's a couple pictures up at the top, is a amplifier for the TV. I actually bought one for my husband. I love them. Then we have a Braille note taker, and the bottom is the OB feeder. Great way to try. You're not being stressed by the vendor saying buy, buy, buy. You're able to make that decision without having them over your shoulder. Now, this is my absolute favorite program. I didn't get to work in this program, but maybe 6 to 9 months. We have a reuse program. We get a lot of equipment donated to us. We get funding to purchase equipment. We take it in, we clean it, we sanitize it, then we get it out to people. When you're looking at equipment, people think it's just durable medical equipment such as walkers, rollators, wheelchairs, bedside commodes, shower chairs, things like that. Anything that we have in our demonstration center or our device loan program, if they are no longer manufactured and supported, we cannot show them. We donate that stuff to our reuse program. We're talking communication devices. I don't know if you saw, PRC was out here, Tobii Dynavox was out here. We have some of their devices, like the 7-inch is no longer made, I believe, so they were donated to our reuse program, and all it is they went from a 7-inch screen to an 8-inch screen. But because for funding purposes, if they're writing a report, they have to actually go with the device that is actually out there. So we donate them. A lot of times they still have warranties on them. We will get them to you at no cost. If something is not covered, one of the things I hear a lot is, they won't cover my walker. I've only had it for 2 years, and I went to get in the car, and the car door slammed it and bent it. You can come through our reuse program and get a new walker. You keep it as long as you like. One of the things I share is I know somebody that had a leg amputated above the knee. She needed equipment. 15 years ago, she still got that equipment. The only thing we ask is if it is no longer needed, and it's still good working condition, you give us a call. We will actually even come and get it. We have people that will pick up and deliver equipment, and then we bring it back, clean it, sanitize it, and get it out to somebody else. We do one of our vendors here in Illinois for vision, he gets a lot of devices that the VA has purchased for vision, and he always gives them to us. So sometimes these devices have never been used. Oh, and we do have hospital beds and lift chairs. So we have to do state financing, and if anybody knows about IATP, up until about 2 years ago, we actually had a loan program to help people purchase the equipment. But we were our bank, and we had to jump through so many hoops, and we were only doing a few loans a year, and figured out that there was a better way to use that money for state financing. So, smart home technology, we use that money to get that smart home technology into the individual's homes. We have Tech Kitchen, which will help you with planning, prepping, and cooking, and assistive devices to help in the kitchen. And then another favorite program we have is the IATP Makers, and you'll learn more about that shortly. And Yesterday, they put out that the Illinois Care Connections program for seniors is also one of these. And what it means is we typically give out equipment to these individuals that fall in these here at no cost to them. So, smart home, we do have in our demonstration center the fully functioning. And it's kind of neat because you walk in our bedroom, and Steve had bought these lights that he wanted to use for something and couldn't. So now you walk in the bedroom, and we have a hospital bed in there, and you say, "Hey, Alexa, turn on the Pimp My Bed lights." And the lights come on under the bed. I mean, but it's pretty cool. We do evaluations to make sure it's going to meet what you are requesting. And this is kind of a small display. Our tech kitchen, we actually have a talking microwave, so you can go in there and say, "Alexa, set microwave to 30 seconds on high," and it'll turn on. So we have our kitchen. You can ask the refrigerator to see inside. "Hey, Alexa, show me inside the refrigerator." Or, "Alexa, pull up my grocery list." The living room there, our TV, smart TV is showing a fireplace. But it's from the front door, the Ring doorbell, the smart lock that you can either use with an app or you can use with voice or fingerprint is there. You walk in, you can say, "Alexa, turn on the lights." "Alexa, turn off the lights." "Hey, Google, set the thermostat to 72. So it is a completely functional working house through the living room, into the hallway, into the laundry room, kitchen, bedroom, bath. And our tech kitchen, at the end you'll see a picture of our building. It used to be a hospital in Springfield, a 3-story hospital. And we had outgrown our other building, and I'm going to tell you guys a little secret. I've been telling everybody we have 70 people on staff. We have 73 people on staff, and we're looking to hire 6 to 10 more within the next year. We have outgrown our hospital, but we kept as much of a footprint of a hospital as possible in case it is ever needed to be used as a hospital again. But this would have been the cafeteria kitchen that we made into a home-style kitchen. And I'll tell you, Chastity hasn't got to experience yet, but when they're in there baking, they're working with somebody that has a disability, maybe it's vision, and they're teaching them how to make things. They have made the best smelling bread I've ever smelled. You walk out of my office like, who's making bread? But they actually will bring individuals in and work with them to find out what kind of AT they need so they're able to cook. They work with them how to shop, how to meal plan. We have found here in the last probably 5 or 6 months, it's actually better if we go to them in their own environment. But they still can come in, especially if they're looking at having something customized for them. It's easier at our place than trying to go to their place to customize. But it's free classes for people that are part of home services, vocational rehab. Eventually, it's going to be the seniors through the ICC program. And this is the conduction burner, talking, measuring, and if you look at the cupboards over here, they are the pull-out Lazy Susan, the shelving that comes down, and that's part of our kitchen. And if you look at this oven, the stove, do you see how our oven is broke down? Do you know why you would want an oven like that? If you are a chair user, can you imagine pulling that solid oven door down and then trying to reach for the racks? By having the split oven, you pull it down, you can still get your chair underneath the door, and you're able to reach those racks more safely. We don't think about that kind of stuff. Now, I love this program. We have a makers program. It's called the IATP Makers Program. And if you look at this tube here, our director actually has a daughter that was tube fed until just probably within the last year she started taking things by mouth. And she's graduating from high school this year. Willie used to have to stand behind Hal and hold her tube for feeding. So our makers actually made this stand that sits on the table behind Hallie, so Willie had the freedom to do other things. But we provide assistive technology for those who have a need for something fabricated for themselves. One of the things I like to share, just recently we had a little kindergartner who has a limb difference, and she needed a non-medical prosthetic, meaning she wouldn't have got a prosthetic through a prescription because she did have 2 arms, but there was a limb difference. And this little girl designed her own non-medical prosthetic arm, pink and purple. She wanted a special feature. I love this special feature. However, I'm still walking in glitter when I walk in the front door at work. She wanted her prosthetic to shoot glitter. So our engineers and our OTA for that program made her a non-prosthetic arm with a little box that goes on it so that when she wants to shoot glitter, her mom can put the glitter in it and she's able to hold her arm out and shoot glitter. We can customize any piece of equipment that we make through our 3D makers. We also have pressure forming device for food grade. We also have a laser cutter. This is some of the things they've done on the end. The center one is our big printer. We have this, I think it's about a 6-foot long printer where they can customize like different kinds of walker or crutches and canes and big items. And then we have a small one. We actually have much more than that now. I'm going to just real quick go over the ISB. So the ISB grant is for schools to request assessments for kids 22 that reside in the state. And we will go out and do an assessment, whether it be for a communication device or maybe they need a reading pen because they have dyslexia or they need specialized software for a computer in order to use a computer. We will go out and do the evaluation, and then they're able to borrow the equipment to do the trials. And like our AAC, the communication devices, if they have a assessment through us, they do the trials, our SLPs will help write up the reports for funding. And it is free, and anybody that's working with that particular student can get training. We have a person on staff that will work with the families in the schools for the IEP or 504 plan, which is what is going to tell the school district, what they need in order to get their free and appropriate education. Vocational rehab, evaluation, and fast track program, that is for anybody that's part of vocational rehab or rehab services. Maybe they're transitioning out of high school into college or the job plays. What do they need to be successful? We're able to then use fast track to get them the equipment they need. I can tell you in the 21 years I've been there, and as long as we've been doing this, we had a student that went through aviation mechanical school, needed the tools. Fast Track bought the tools. Once he completed the program and got his certificate, those tools were his. We have people that want to go to work, might need a talking cash register. Businesses aren't going to supply that, but through Fast Track, we can get that taken care of. It is an outstanding program that we do for the state to get the equipment out sooner and to get the evaluations. Work incentive and planning assistance is for those that are on SSI or SSDI, want to go to work, what's going to happen to my benefits, not only federal but state benefits, and they work with them so they know if it's worth taking a job. and it's open to anybody 14 or over until retirement age. Now, the Illinois Care Connection program started during COVID. I was the manager for this program, but I'm taking over a new grant I'll tell you guys about shortly. So we gave it to Crystal, but it is through Department of Aging. You have to be 60 years older and living independently. And you need durable medical equipment, you need smart home technology, you need vision, hearing, things like that. You go to your local area agency on aging or senior center. They put you in for a referral. We contact you. We may send an OT or a PT out to meet with you to make sure we're getting what you need, even as far as cooking. Then we get the equipment and get it to you, get it set up so that you can remain at home and live independently. It is a great program. We started this during COVID just for the tablet part of it, which was a tablet or an iPad with Wi-Fi, but they have seen the need and seen that, you know, if we can keep people out of nursing homes a little bit longer, their quality of life is better. So this is a great program. We do provide training, and we do follow up. And I will tell you, I started with the HAP Foundation, got money for AmeriCorps, and they're doing a senior community health care worker program. So I actually went and spoke to these AmeriCorps volunteers that are seniors, and have 4 of them. Had a 5th one call me yesterday. I'm trying to figure out where I can put this 5th one. But they're coming in to work with us, so we're having the seniors call the other seniors at 6 weeks to make sure they're using this successfully. And if they're not using it, do we need to try something else? Is it just not, why isn't it meeting your needs? So we are working to get seniors to connect with seniors. Great program. We also do training on accessibility for information, which means any state website has to be accessible for anybody. Somebody that uses a screen reader, it has to be able to do that. We work with state agencies teaching them how to make accessible formats. Great program. We do presentations about who we are, and we can customize it just for AT if that's needed. We do tours of different areas in our building, professional development on all AT topics. So I use our speech language pathologist because I get all the requests and say, hey, this person wants to know how to conduct an evaluation. And they will go out and explain how we do evaluations or what you need to put in place to do that. So that's who IATP is, and that's what we do. And this is our building. Like I said, it is an old hospital. We are building another building. I was told, we had our annual board meeting yesterday, and I got to do what's new and what's next. So what's new is the VA has contacted IATP for us to do the one-off evaluations for veterans. So we are able to do the one-off assessments for veterans now. The other thing that's new, and the grant I am going to be looking at to start on July 1st, is Department of Children and Family Services has contacted us. And a lot of times when a child is taken from the home, if they use AT, the AT is left behind. And so they contacted us about possibly doing home modifications for foster parents and to be able to go in and do assessments on the foster kids to get them the equipment they need. So we will actually run this program where we will have a small lending library so we can find out what they need, and then we will be purchasing the devices for those foster children. So that is why I stepped out of ICC, because I used to be early childhood. So they're pulling me back to work with DCFS, which is kind of neat. We're still not sure how much money they're going to give us. We know it's at least $500,000 a year. But in order to get the AT out so people can do what they need to do, it's a great program. If you guys ever are in Springfield, I highly encourage you. I met a lady here last year that has actually been down to see us twice in Springfield, and we have gotten her equipment. She convinced her husband that they had to come. And the first time she came on a Saturday, and the next time they came during the week, pictures of her trying different things. You know, if we can make a difference in any of your lives or somebody you know, please keep us in mind. Please, if you need AT, you're not sure how to get it, call us. We know of funding, or we may be able to get to our reuse program saying, hey, we really need to purchase this for this person. And if we've got the funding, we'll do it. We have other agencies, OCI, which is, what does OCI stand for? Because I just lost it. Rehab. It's a rehab thing. They just did a 5K walk and donated the money to us because they found out we were working with some of the people that have had surgery. We have agencies that do that. So we do sometimes have money that we can go out and just purchase things. Any questions? Well, I'm going to let our next speaker up here. Thank you.
Thank you for the amazing resources, and we're definitely going to follow up with you on that. Before we introduce our last but not least presenter, I would like to, I failed to say it at the beginning, we do have notebooks and index cards on the table for you to write your questions. So at the end of the program, we're going to go over those questions. So please, if you still remember from the first presentation, please write your questions so we can answer them. And now, our third presentation is titled Caregivers Helping Caregivers, Sharing the Knowledge and Support. It is presented by John Bookstaver. John is a retired college chemistry professor and administrator in St. Louis. He was the primary caregiver for his late wife, Kathy, for almost 2 years, progressing from helping keep her safe and driving her to her appointments to eventually doing everything for her. He is proud that he was able to keep her at home throughout the journey. He now enjoys woodworking and singing. You gotta sing for us. At the choir in St. Francis Xavier College Church on campus of St. Louis University. John?
Thank you. This is my wife. This is one of my favorite pictures on the left. That was 10 years ago at our oldest daughter's wedding. My beautiful wife, Kathy. And on the right was 8 years later at the Missouri Botanical Gardens, just a few months before she died. I show you that because I think before we get into who we are at alscaregivers.org, I think we should say what we're not. We're not experts. We're not vendors. We're not healthcare providers. We're just caregivers, one current, many former caregivers of people living with ALS who know that the learning curve is steep and the only constant is change when you're facing ALS. We know that families battling this disease don't have the luxury of learning from their own mistakes. or to benefit from their own experiences. There is an ocean of information available, but it's not quickly or easily accessible. And too many times it's not practical. So our group, and here are the rest of our band. Julie is here with us, Julie Kramer, her husband, Craig. Caroline is sort of the leader of our group, and she is a force of nature. Jim and Joan. Brad is a caregiver. He was worked with Caroline and Steve. Lynn and Steve is still with us. They're very involved in advocacy work. These volunteers were brought together almost 2.5 years ago by the St. Louis chapter of the ALS Association to work on training for caregivers. They knew that this was a real need. And so brought us together. We've since, not to get into inside baseball, but we've sort of separated from the association, and we're our own entity. And we would like to share what we learned to help make ALS a more livable disease. Our mission is simply to enable everyone facing ALS to more quickly gain tangible and practical knowledge to overcome daily challenges by providing firsthand life-learned advice and expertise based on our own experiences as caregivers to PALS. We have been where you are. And we, as you, had to learn a lot of things the hard way. It is our vision that no one battling ALS should start at ground zero. No one. Not even Cub fans should have to do that. Instead, we hope that you can benefit from our knowledge and use this as a foundation to get through your life, make your life more livable, to take advantage of every moment, because we know that they're precious. What we have done is create a library of e-booklets on different topics, and we have developed workshops. We put on 10 workshops a year. Most of those are virtual now. And so if you can click on here. Here is our website. Excuse me, I'm going to pull this over here. You can see out there at the top the upcoming workshops through next November. It says where they are, whether they're online, in Fenton, Missouri. All of this, by the way, is free. There is no cost to register for these workshops. There is no cost or fee that you have to pay to access the e-booklets. This is just what we learned, and we want you to be able to benefit from it. And then if you can scroll down some more, keep going. There are booklets on a lot of different topics. If you would, let's click on open book for the speaking one, if you could. And read now. So just, on the right arrow there, click. All these booklets begin with what's really a disclaimer. It's like we didn't go to school for this. We've just been through it, and so here's what we learned. As you see, there are some videos on different at different points. If there is an outside resource, we put a link to it. If there's equipment, we put a link to where we got this stuff. A lot of times it's Amazon. We don't get we don't get a kickback if somebody uses that link to buy stuff. But it's just, again, our goal was to save you some work because you don't have a lot of time. So on every topic there, if we can go back to the website and keep scrolling down, you'll see there's an awful lot of these booklets. A very nice feature at the bottom of the page is that there's an alphabetical listing of individual topics. So if you know that, for instance, you don't want to have to search through all the toileting challenges things. You just want to know about catheters. So if you go down to here, you click on that topic, and it'll take you to that place in the toileting challenges book. And so you can then get right to that. We tried to make this as user-friendly as possible. We're still learning as we go along, but that is that. The workshops, again, mostly are online, as I said. There are 4 of them each year that are in person. We have a great partner at Merits, which is a company, primarily they do motivational programs. Actually, Kathy's brother was a vice president in the motivation company at Merits. And they have donated the space for us for these workshops. They've even donated space for us to store equipment so we don't have to cart it back and forth. So those workshops that are in person are typically very equipment oriented. And because we believe that one of the things we can do for people is take some of the mystery out of using Hoyer lifts, sit-to-stands, vans. What features are good to have, not good to have? So we have some local vendors who are very generous with their time and lending equipment and personnel to come and help. And so those 4 workshops are in person. The rest are online. So we can go back to the presentation. So what do we do have an ask here. First of all, please go to the website and look. And we hope that there's information out there, a lot of information that you will find useful. If there are things that you would like to see, then please let us know. On the website, you'll see a link to an email address, info@alscaregivers.org. Let us know what you would like to see, or if you have any other questions, that's the place where you can ask them. And also, if you now or in the future feel like you would like to share what you have learned, please let us know. we're always looking for fresh blood, if you will. It's really a practical thing. We know that that our knowledge is going to time out. Kathy's been gone 2 years now. 5 years for Craig. Steve, Caroline's husband's been gone 3 years, I think. And so things always change, and there's always new stuff coming out. So we want to keep this this resource vital and up to date. So if you, our meetings are over Zoom, so it doesn't matter that you're up here and we're down there. So please give that some thought. Thank you so much. We believe that since ALS has no boundaries, neither should the knowledge sharing. And so don't forget this website. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the most fundamental act of compassion and how we can make ALS a more livable disease. Thank you. And one last thing, I'm sorry. We do, as many of you picked up our cards at the table out there, but if you didn't and you would like one, or if you lost it already, feel free to come up and get one. We'll be happy to share.
Before Joumana asks the questions that you guys have, I'd like for the caregivers that are with us today to take a moment to stand and be recognized. Y'all are the unsung heroes in the room. Thank you all for what you do day in, day out, and especially for the love that you provide for the individual you're taking care of. Joumana.
Thank you. And thank you, John, for the amazing resources and for what you guys do. It's amazing. And remember, all those wonderful resources that you heard today, all of this is free of charge. So please take advantage of them. You can't get better than that. So we have about 20 minutes for questions. If you wrote your questions, raise your hand so we can collect them and we can go over them. Yeah, I'll start with one and I'll come and run after your card, unless somebody volunteers it. Okay. All right, so I have a question for Lynnette. You mentioned the smart home technology. That's wonderful. But as I understand it, most of those require installation. Do you guys provide the installation at your cost, at your expense?
If you get the smart home technology from us, we will come out and install it.
And do you collect those at the end?
If they no longer need them and they want them gone, yes, we will go out and get them.
And uninstall them?
Right.
Oh, wonderful. And what about your tech kitchen? I was impressed by that. Do you also provide the equipment?
We do.
And the installation?
Most of the equipment is not, that we offer is
Like self-install?
not installable.
Mm.
It would be like the talking microwave, different kinds of devices for chopping and cooking and that kind of stuff. But like the oven and stuff, we don't do those. We just have them to show.
Oh, amazing. All right, I have a question here. Are there any technologies that can enable a patient who can't use her hands Open smartphone? Is that the question?
Open what?
The smartphone. Like a voice activated.
You know what? What I would tell you, depending on what your smartphone is, you can use Siri for an Apple. You know, hey Siri, and tell Siri what you want done. You can turn off the feature where they go to sleep, so they stay on all the time. However, you use more of a battery that way. But as far as devices to turn them on and off, no. Yeah, and it's the same with the Galaxy. It's voice control, but if the phone is locked, to unlock it, a lot of times it needs a code or a fingerprint. I know on the Android, voice does not work to unlock it. This is why I like this stuff, because I'm not an Apple person, so I learn something new all the time.
Since we are still in the tech, let me bring this over. We're having a hard time hearing you.
Oh, we just became aware of a system called voice control on the Apple products, and you could do just about anything using your voice. You can open the iPad or the iPhone just with using your voice. You don't need your fingers at all. And you could do like crossword puzzles or go to Wall Street Journal or, you know, any news site you want just using your voice. It's called voice control. And it's, you know, pretty easy to learn. And, you know, you look at numbers. Like if you want to sort an article, you say 2, and then the Cubs will come up. The Cubs, I said, not the Cardinals. Yeah, so, yeah, voice control. Thank you.
Okay, I have a related question. What if Alexa and Siri can't understand you? What would you do? What would you do?
Repeat yourself, or, you know, try a different phrase, or we have Alexa too. I can start my TV with Alexa and say, Alexa, I want to watch Emily in Paris on Netflix, and bingo, it goes right there. And then if you watched episode 1 already, then you tell her the next time, it goes right to episode 2. And you can watch YouTube and your news channels just by using Alexa Cube. Alexa Cube, I believe it's called, and it hooks up to your TV.
Thank you. You have a question? Oh. What's your favorite new tech or aid you wish everyone knew about? That's for everybody. Oh, hold on that question. I have an answer.
So sorry. Both the Android and the iPhone, if you have in-ear earbuds, have a much better microphones on those earbuds. So if you have the earbud in, the Siri or Alexa or Google's Assistant or whatever can hear your voice much clearer. They can cancel out the background sounds and hear your voice over it. So if you put an earbud in, then it's more likely that the assistants, the AI tech, will understand you when you speak, or instead of speaking to your phone on the table or something like that.
That's awesome. Thank you. Any other ideas? Okay, we have a question here. Okay, so back to that other question. What's your favorite new tech or aid you wish everyone knew about?
Actually, there's been a lot of new tech out there. One of the things I recently learned is I've been working with a senior with a hearing loss, And there is an app called Otter, Otter, that is actually pretty remarkable. It's for closed captioning. And we put it on a tablet and put it in our demo center, and it's not right outside my office. I walked out the other day and it was on, and I had been on the phone, and it was like, why is my phone conversation on this tablet? But it is pretty accurate for captioning on just a free app.
I don't really know tech, but we do have a smart home page in the Home and Daily Living Guide that goes in depth. I mean, we had a smart home specialist write that page, so it goes into a lot of it, but honestly, I am not techie, so I don't know any of it. So please go read it there.
I don't know, my favorite tech is my robotic lawnmower, but I don't think that really applies here. That's...
Okay, we have a next question here directly from
Pastor Joe. Yeah, this could be a general appeal to anybody, maybe you, Kim, if it exists, or a challenge to address it. One of the biggest challenges we have in hospice is placement in skilled nursing facilities. And people don't know the questions to ask. We have some handwritten notes that we pass on to our social workers and other staff that say, don't move the eye gaze, don't put on oxygen, don't choke. And then we have to reinvent the wheel and educate all the time. So my question is there somebody that's done a guide for families, care partners, patients to know what to ask on the ability of a skilled nursing facility to serve the special needs of an ALS patient?
So we have brief information on that, but we are actually, that is a 2025 wish list thing that we are going to do, because one of the physicians that we did actually interview in Philadelphia, that is a huge struggle for her there, and understanding, and even in my own experience, that the facilities don't know what to do with someone coming in with ALS, and you want to feel comfortable, obviously, with your family member being placed there. So that is something we absolutely are going to work on, and I know it's important. But at this time, I don't know of anything specific, but that it's a great thing. Even in the meantime, just having those questions, I think maybe there could be something that Dave and I could do for sure. So I'll talk to him about that. Anybody else?
Any other questions before we move on to our next part? Yeah? No? I had a question, but gone. A question for Lynnette. You mentioned that you have a library of equipment to loan out. Would that list be available on your website, or how do they?
If you go to our website and look under Try a Device, you can look by category, you can look by name, you could look at all, and it'll bring up everything that we have.
Okay.
And there should be pictures and descriptions and approximate cost. Again, we sell nothing. What is on there for prices may have been when we purchased it or they gave us a discount, but it's just an average price. But we sell nothing.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any other questions before we thank the speakers? All right. Well, thank you so much for the amazing resources and for making the trip here. We know that all of you come from far. Some of you had to fly to get here, so we appreciate your time and your commitment and everything that you guys do. Thanks.
And I know a lot of the questions that seem to be occurring, in addition to the information that they've been sharing, is we have a partnership with Adaptive Equipment Corner, and that is a link on our website. Is it part of?
And do you know that the two ladies that run that are actually IATP staffers?
Yeah.
And they're amazing. And the reason I bring that up, again, is we're leaning in and learning more about equipment and about maybe what's out there or a topic. You can go to these series of videos, and they show you the equipment, or maybe you've had a piece of equipment that has been dropped off and you've been shown how to use it, or it was brought up at clinic, and you turn to actually use it, and you're like, okay, now what exactly did they say? And these incredible videos will help you, and you can stop and start and reuse, and they're a tremendous resource. I also encourage you, and I feel like, we're talking to yes, ma'am. It's, if you go to our website, which is ALS United Greater Chicago. ALS United Chicago. Okay, ALS United Chicago. I just think we're great. I'm kidding. Chicago.org. And you go to our care services page. There's a whole litany there, and you just click on the AE corner. Adaptive A. Sorry, my southern A as an apple, E corner, like adaptive equipment corner. You can also reach out to your care service coordinator. Those folks are your GPS. Not only are they compassionate and dedicated and the best in the country, you don't have to remember this stuff. You just reach out to them, and they will help guide you and help get you where you need to be and provide you the knowledge to help you be successful in living with ALS.